In this video, we're going to be taking a look on pages Access 36 and 37, in which we're going to filter data. Filtering a table or query data sheet temporarily displays only those records that match given criteria. Recall that criteria are limiting conditions you set. For example, you may want to show only tours in the state of California or tours with a duration of 14 days. Although filters provide a quick and easy way to display a temporary subset of records in the current data sheet, they are not as powerful or flexible as queries. Most important, a query is a saved object within the database, whereas filters are temporary because Access removes them when you close the data sheet. And of course, if you take a look on page Access 37, you can take a look on table B-2, and you see that there is a table that illustrates the differences between filters and queries. If we take a look on step 1 on page Access 36, it tells us that we want to double-click the Tours table to open it up. And then it tells us to click on any occurrence of adventure, which we can click on the very top one on here. And then it tells us that we want to click the selection button in the Sort and Filter group on the Home tab. So we have the Sort and Filter on here, and then of course right up here, here's our selection button. And then we want to click on equals adventure. And of course this is a filter that we're adding in. And of course you'll now notice that it has reduced down our table to 18 records that's on here that's selected, which you will see on your screen. It's also on, the same that's on page Access 37, which is shown in figure B-10. Now a filter icon appears to the right of the category field. Filtering by the selected field value, called Filter by Selection, is a fast and easy way to filter the records for an exact match. To filter by for comparative data, for example, where tour start date is equal to or greater than maybe 7/1 of 2014, you must use the Filter by Form feature. And filter buttons are summarized, and of course, on page Access 37 and table B-3. Of course, a quick tip, you can also apply a sort or filter by clicking the Sort and Filter arrow to the right of the field name and choosing the sort order or filter values that you would like. And of course, that is just this little down pointing arrow right here as well, where you can click on that. And of course, there is where we can click on Adventure on there as well. In step 2, it tells us that we want to click the Advanced button in the Sort and Filter group. And then we want to click the Filter by Form. So we filtered by selection, now we're going to filter by form. And of course now you'll notice that all of our records have disappeared because we're going to be filtering by form. And this is the Filter by Form window that opens up. The previous Filter by Selection criteria, Adventure, in the category field is still in the grid. Access distinguishes between text and numeric entries by placing quotation marks around text criteria. So you notice in Adventure there's quotation marks around that. In step 3, it tells us that we want to click the Tour Start Date cell, and then we want to type in 7/ and then we want to have the little asterisk key, which that is a wildcard for us on there. So and that wildcard means that it could be anything within this month, /2014. Now the Filter by Form also allows you to apply 2 or more criteria at the same time. Now of course, as we said, the asterisk in the day position of the date criteria works as a wildcard, selecting any day in the month of July, which is the 7th month in the year of 2014. Now of course, to clear previous criteria, you click the Advanced button and then click Clear All Filters. In step 4, it tells us that we want to click the Toggle Filter button, which is this right here. And when we click on that, the data sheet selects 2 records that match both filter criteria. Now note that the filter icons appear next to the tour start date and the category field names, as both fields are involved in the filter. Now, of course, a quick tip: be sure to remove existing filters before applying a new filter, or the new filter will apply to the current subset of records instead of the entire data sheet. So if we had the adventures already filtered and then we applied the date, it would look for just the date in the adventure category and not all of them. So make sure that you do clear filters. If you're filtering some data and then you're done filtering it, you want to clear your filters first. After that, we want to close the tours data sheet. So you can just right click and close. And then of course tell us, then click yes when prompted to save the changes. And of course you might be like, oh my goodness, all the data has disappeared on there. And it says saving changes to the data sheet saves the last sort order in column with changes. However, the filters are not saved, because if we would open up the tours, notice that all the data is still there. And all of our filters have been deleted. So if we would close that back out again, that's a way that whenever you close it out, the filters are deleted. So when you're done with filters, you can just close out your table and it would be removed. And of course, as we were talking about, if you look on the bottom of page Access 36, it talks a little bit more about using wildcard characters. And of course, to search for a pattern, you can use a wildcard character to represent any character in the condition entry. Now, if we use a question mark to search for any single character and an asterisk to search for any number of characters, wildcard characters are often used with the like operator. For example, the criterion like 12 and then / / 13 would find all the dates in December of 2013. And the criterion like F * would find all the entries that would start with the letter F. So you would use a question mark if you would just want to find maybe one character or one number, and you'd use the asterisk that would find any number of characters within that. That concludes the information that's on pages Access 36 and 37. In the next video, we're going to be talking about applying the AND criteria.